Welcome to another edition of LRMania Reviews, and today I'm going to be reviewing NXT Takeover San Antonio. And this show would take place in San Antonio, Texas, in the Freeman Coliseum, and it was one day before the Royal Rumble. So this was not in the same venue as the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble took place in the Alamo Dome, which was the Sunday. This was the Saturday. So this show, now this is the new pattern with NXT. I should mention this, is every single NXT now takeover takes place before a Big Four pay-per-view. So Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series all have in NXT. Now it's all like one giant weekend. At first it was just WrestleMania weekend. Now they have all four of the big shows have their own giant weekend, and they have Raw and SmackDown in the same city. And the night before they have NXT Takeover shows, and they also do another show sometimes randomly. And I think they're doing one before Backlash in Chicago. So this show, it's not my favorite NXT Takeover, but it's a good show. Certainly not as good as some of the other ones. The show started off with Sanity. I'm not a big fan of Sanity. I think Eric Young, I don't take him seriously as a star. When I saw him in TNA, to me it was like he was playing Butters from South Park. If you ever seen South Park, he looks like Butters. He acted like Butters. Now he's the Sanity thing. He has Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane. I think they have high hopes for Killian Dane. They had him in the WrestleMania Andre the Giant Battle Royal. He was against Ty Dillinger. Dillinger's over. The 10 count's over. That 10 count was so fucking annoying. Now I am so sick of hearing 10, trying to fuck up with the referee. It's just annoying. They had a decent match. It was good. Not a great match. It was a good opener. It was fine. Eric Young won. Had Sanity interfere, so they kind of protected Ty Dillinger. Then he had Andrade Cien Almas taking on Roderick Strong. And Andrade Cien Almas, he is so boring. He makes me fall asleep. And the match wasn't bad. I like Roderick Strong. I don't think he's anything special, but I like him. I don't see him as a big star in the main roster. I don't think he really had that much personality. And this match, it was a good match. Almas is just so fucking boring. And this match reminds me a lot of, Alberto Del Rio matches. Alberto Del Rio is without question one of the most boring wrestlers I've ever seen. And it wasn't like he was a bad wrestler. He had a lot of decent matches. He would have good matches with several different guys. And a lot of times, they were actually really good. He's a good wrestler. It's just, he is so fucking boring. He is such a boring promo. Everything he did was bored me to tears. There was not one thing I liked that interested me. He was just boring as fuck. And when he had these matches, it was because I was just so not invested into his character. I couldn't enjoy any of his matches. And that says a lot. Del Rio's boring and Almas. They make him seem so much like Del Rio. It's not just because they're both, Hispanic. It's just that, the way he acts, he has the same mannerisms. He kind of comes out, kind of like how Del Rio would come out. It's, this boring as fuck. But the match was decent. And then you have the tag team title match, the Authors of Pain when they beat DIY. It was disappointing to see DIY lose the title so quickly. They just won in Toronto when they beat the Revival. It was such a great match. It was such an amazing moment. Seeing them win the tag team belts was so awesome. I loved it. And seeing them lose it only 2 months later, that was disappointing. They had a good match, not a great match. It was a very good match. So much better than I was expecting, because I knew Authors of Pain, they have a lot of potential. They come out with Paul Ellering. These guys seem like stars when they come out. I have to admit, I'm not a huge fan, but they seem like stars. The only problem is they're both green. He's Samoan. I don't know if he's related to the Inouye family, but Samoan dynasty. We all know Vince McMahon loves Samoans. And Razor, I think he's actually he was actually an MMA fighter. So they beat DIY. Gargano and Ciampa very over. It was a very good match. Just not a great match, but one thing I really noticed. Everything takes over NXT. At first, it was the NXT Championship. It was these indie guys. It was Sami Zayn. It was Kevin Owens, Finn Balor. Tommy when he was there. Tyler Breeze. they would have these great matches, Cesaro when he was there, and then it slowly turned away from that, and the big thing that would take over NXT I'm going to be talking about was the women's division, with the 4 horsewomen. That became the big thing, and now the big thing that's breaking out in NXT is the tag team division. When you had the Revival and you had DIY, they had these killer matches. They stole the show both times they wrestled, and then you had now you have the Authors of Pain. So Authors of Pain won. It was again, they can be big stars. And then you had the Seth Rollins interrupting Triple H, interrupting the show, trying to take over the show. I mean, I think Rollins, I don't know if I'm a big Seth Rollins fan. I find him very boring at times as a babyface. I don't like him as a face. He's fine as a heel, but I've never been a huge fan of the guy. And maybe looking back on this, they would go on to have a snooze fest of a match or something. It was boring as fuck. So it's kind of hard watching this now. It's hard to care. It was what it was. It was a decent segment. Crowd was really into it. They liked Rollins a lot. It was fine. And then you had Fatal 4 match for the NXT Women's Championship. Asuka defended it against Nikki Cross, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce. Nikki Cross, I don't see much potential in her. She's kind of what Paige kind of should have been, but Paige is a lot more, it's too attractive to be that character, I think. That's what I think WWE thought, and she never really did get to play that character. She's like an extreme version of what I think they wanted to do with Paige, but they were afraid to do. And then you have Asuka, who's always great, and Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, who I like a lot. I like Billie Kay. I think she's decent, but I really, really like Peyton Royce. Both of them come out. They look like stars. Peyton Royce in particular. I think Peyton Royce is going to be a big star. She has star written all over her. She is gorgeous. They have my favorite ring attire. Both of them. They have the same kind of ring attire. Billie's is blue. Peyton is, I think it's pink. I love their ring attire. I have to say that. But I really think Peyton can be a big star on the main roster. I like her a lot. She's just really attractive, and she talks well. Both of them not great in the ring, but I think they can use more seasoning in NXT. I think it'd be a mistake to call them up right now. I think they should be in NXT for about another year, or at least not a whole year, but I'd say after WrestleMania next year. I think they should debut in New Orleans after WrestleMania 34. They really should be in NXT, and they're really well there. I really think Peyton can be something, and Asuka won. The match was good. I mean, I wouldn't even call it really good. It was okay. It was probably the worst women's match on an NXT Takeover. Thinking back, there were some matches with Nia Jax were actually decent. That'd probably be the weakest. I think this was the weakest women's title match on an NXT Takeover of all time. It was not a very good match, but it was still decent and close to good, but the bar's been set so high from all these great matches. And in the end, they did some spots. Nikki Cross is a decent worker. She has experience. She actually took a pretty cool table spot. You had Asuka retain the belt at the end. Match wasn't very long. They did what I think they could do. It was very fast paced. They did some spots. It was fine for what it was, but nothing special. And Asuka, of course, retains, and as we all knew she would. Main event for the NXT Championship, Bobby Roode challenges Shinsuke Nakamura. Both of them have big entrances. Bobby Roode comes out with, I think, 8 models. I don't know if they're in the San Antonio area, but they were, in dresses. They came out with Bobby Roode. They're kind of almost similar to a Ravishing Rick Rude kind of entrance. Or actually, that entrance, the thing that reminded me was actually WrestleMania 1 when they had 8 women, and they're all with the guy, I forget the celebrity, and they were all dancing in the ring. Kind of reminded me of that, but really, really cool entrance. Makes Bobby Roode look like a star. And Nakamura, of course, gets his own entrance when he comes out on this platform, platform that's going to the ring. That was a cool entrance. So I like how they both got the big entrances here. Both of them come off as superstars, and I like how the entrances are saved for the main event guys. And then in the match, I thought Shinsuke Nakamura is absolutely incredible at selling. They did a spot where the definition of the match is when he hurt his knee and Rude would end up winning. But I thought he just did a great job selling, and for a moment people actually bought that he was really hurt, and he's really, really great at what he does. So I like how they kind of protected Nakamura with the knee, and Bobby Roode did eventually win the match. I thought they had a great main event, a great match of the night easily, and without this match, the show was not a very good show. And it's still at the end. The main event was great. Was it the best Nakamura match? No, it wasn't as good as the match with Sami Zayn, but I think it's the second best. I'd say it's better than both the Joe matches, and I'd say it's better than the Austin Aries match. So I say this was his second best match in NXT, and then he had the match with Roode again. That wasn't as good as this. So yeah, the main event kind of saved it. A good show. I mean, Dellinger and Eric Young was decent. Then you had Roderick Strong beat Cien Almas. That was a good match. The tag match was really good. Women's match wasn't that good. It was okay. And this was a great match, but not on the level of NXT TakeOver shows. Not a great show, but a good show. A good NXT show. Again, it's hard to have great shows after, to keep continuing having great shows back to back. But they had a good show. They haven't yet to have a bad NXT TakeOver. They've had some shows that weren't that great, but they've had the worst they've been was at least good. And this was a good show. Now, I wanted to go on to a mini rant. I'm going to get some heat for this, but I don't care. I'm not a racist at all. Zero problem with WWE wanting to hire more diversity, but there comes a situation with the announcers that's really, really annoying the hell out of me. Percy Watson is fucking horrific on this show. He absolutely sucks. He is terrible. And why does he have a job? For the same reason that David Otunga has a job on SmackDown, or on Raw now. For the same reason that Byron Saxton's there. Even though, actually, you know what? I wouldn't put Byron Saxton in that category. Even though I don't think he's that good. He's not as bad as people say. People hate him. I think the thing that he says that's annoying is that whole golly. But he's okay. He's not terrible. He's not horrific. But David Otunga sucks. Booker T, when he replaced Otunga for a few weeks, he was shit. Booker T's always been terrible at this. And he's a legend in the business. But, I mean, he's not good. And Percy Watson sucks. Why do these guys have jobs? Well, diversity. They want more diversity on the announce team to say, so you don't have all these social justice warriors. Why does WWE only have white announcers? Well, we have diversity. See, PC, we hire diversity. We're not just all white people. That's what they're trying to do, and it's fucking annoying. And I'm going to go on a rant here, but I mean, can you at least hire someone because they're good, regardless of their race? I don't care if they're black or white or Hispanic. If they're good, hire them if they can do commentary. Don't just hire someone to show the world, we have diversity, to keep your sponsors happy, to keep these PC social justice warriors happy. Whatever. It's just annoying. Percy Watson's fucking horrible on the show. He sucks. And we know why he has a job. He has a job because same reason Otunga has his job. They're black. And WWE wants diversity. I don't have a problem with any black announcer or any white announcer or any Hispanic announcer if they ever hire one. If they're good, they're good. Just please stop hiring people just because diversity. And if you're going to hire someone, I mean, I'm sure there's good announcers that are not white. If you want to bring in, that's what they're trying to do, there's probably great announcers who can. If you want more diversity, it's just. It's horrible. I mean, he hurt the show. He was annoying as hell on the show. He can't be on commentary. I don't think he has enough experience. It's nothing personal. Just he's not good at this. And Otunga's fucking horrible. And Byron Saxton, I want to put him in that category because he's been in developmental for a while. They've had him on commentary for many years. They've tried to make him into a decent announcer. I don't think he's terrible. I think he's okay. I don't mind him. The only problem with him is I can't tell the difference between him and Todd Phillips. They have no identity, and that's another problem I have with the announcers. But that's just one thing that kind of annoys me. Anyway, that's it. This was a decent show. Not a great show, but it was a decent show, and I apologize for that mini rant. I hate to kind of go political in any of my videos. I had to point that out. That just really has been bothering me.